When economic collapse hits, the value of paper money evaporates almost overnight. In times like these, one of the few constants throughout history has been the enduring power of precious metals, especially gold and silver. These assets aren't just shiny trinkets. They are the original form of money, trusted by civilizations for thousands of years. When fiat currency becomes worthless, gold and silver still hold their value because they represent something real, something tangible, something no central bank can inflate or print into oblivion. Gold is often called a crisis metal for a reason. When governments crumble or confidence in the system fails, people instinctively run towards something that feels safe, timeless, and universally recognized. Gold meets that need. It doesn't matter whether you're in the middle of a stock market meltdown or a geopolitical disaster, gold retains purchasing power, sometimes even gaining value while everything else crashes. In times of inflation, 1 ounce of gold that used to buy a fine suit a century ago still buys one today. That stability cash can't match. Silver, on the other hand, is the workhorse of the precious metals world. It's more practical for everyday transactions during a collapse. While gold is good for storing larger chunks of wealth, silver can be bartered for food, fuel, or services without overpaying. It's also more accessible for the average person, cheaper to acquire and easier to trade in small denominations. Many seasoned preppers keep silver coins on hand precisely because they are harder to fake and instantly recognizable. Unlike digital assets or bank-held wealth, physical gold and silver are private. They don't rely on the grid, the internet, or a functioning banking system. You don't need permission to use them, and they leave no digital footprint. That privacy becomes a form of security when things fall apart. There's also a psychological value, holding real metal in your hands, feeling its weight, knowing it's yours and can't be erased with the stroke of a keyboard. Creates a kind of confidence that few other assets offer. It reminds you that your wealth isn't an illusion on a screen, it's real. In the end, gold and silver don't promise returns like a stock or a bond. What they offer is much rarer: protection. In a time of economic chaos, that protection might mean the difference between desperation and survival. Don't wait until your dollars buy nothing. Prepare now, with the metals that always matter. When economies collapse, one asset that consistently proves its worth is land. Unlike stocks, bonds, or cash, land is real. It can't be inflated, erased, or digitally manipulated. And in a crisis, especially one involving food shortages, currency collapse, or civil unrest, owning a piece of productive land can mean the difference between surviving and depending on a broken system. First, land has utility. If you own even a few acres of fertile ground, you have the power to grow your own food. In a world where grocery stores are empty or rationing is in place, growing vegetables, raising chickens, or harvesting fruit from your own trees becomes not just valuable, but essential. You're no longer relying on fragile supply chains. You've taken back control. Second, land is a store of wealth that's historically resilient. During the Great Depression, people lost jobs, savings, and homes. But those who owned land outright often managed to weather the storm. The land provided food, shelter, and even a means of barter. And when the dust settled, they still had an asset of value. Even if the currency was destroyed, the land remained, and often appreciated over time. Third, rural land in particular offers something rare in a collapse: distance. Away from population, dense cities, rural land offers more safety, fewer threats, and the opportunity to live with greater independence. In urban centers, chaos can break out fast when systems fail. But out in the country, with your own well, garden, and perhaps some solar panels, you're buffered from the worst of it. Another advantage is flexibility. Land can be developed, leased, lived on, or even used as collateral in a recovery. It's a versatile asset. In a desperate economy, land can be traded, used to house extended family, or become a sanctuary for a group of trusted people. In survival terms, it's not just a resource, it's a platform for rebuilding. And most importantly, land offers sovereignty. If the dollar crashes and the state loses control, those who own nothing will become dependent fast. But those with land, especially land that's been prepped, fenced, stocked, and improved, have options. They have dignity. They have a base from which to rebuild. In every economic collapse, people who own productive land are far less vulnerable. It gives you food, freedom, and a future. Don't wait until prices skyrocket and demand explodes. Secure land while you still can, and plant your roots before the storm hits. When the financial system begins to unravel, precious metals like gold and silver rise to the top as reliable assets that beat cash every time. Unlike paper money, which loses value with inflation or collapse, precious metals hold intrinsic value. They've been trusted stores of wealth for thousands of years, across every continent and every crisis. When everything else becomes uncertain, metals like gold and silver remain universally accepted and respected. First and foremost, precious metals are not dependent on the stability of a government or central bank. They don't rely on promises or policies. A dollar bill is only worth something because we all agree it is. But gold has value regardless of whether the banking system survives. In fact, during the worst collapses, like Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, or Argentina, gold became the only form of currency that retained any purchasing power. Gold and silver are also portable and easily divisible. In a situation where you need to flee, relocate, or barter, carrying a few ounces of gold or a stack of silver coins can give you flexibility. You can use silver for smaller trades, such as fuel or food, and gold for larger exchanges, such as land or transportation. While land is immobile and requires defending, metals can be discreetly stored, hidden, or moved. Another advantage is liquidity. Even during crises, there is almost always a demand for precious metals, whether it's other preppers, foreign buyers, or even black market trades. Gold and silver are universally valued. You're not stuck holding something that no one wants, like devalued currency or real estate that can't sell. Instead, you hold something that has historic and global recognition. Precious metals are also independent of digital systems. If the internet goes down, the banks close, or electronic payment networks crash, gold and silver are still usable. You don't need a smartphone, an account, or a verification code. In a world where cash might be outlawed and everything is tracked, precious metals offer privacy and autonomy. Finally, owning metals gives you psychological peace. While others panic watching their bank balances evaporate or inflation eat their savings, you'll be holding real, tangible wealth. It's not a promise. It's not an IOU, it's yours. Gold and silver don't need to be plugged in, unlocked, or bailed out. In every collapse, past, present, and future, precious metals stand firm while currencies crumble. If you're serious about protecting your wealth, converting some of your savings into physical gold and silver is not just smart, it's survival. In times of economic collapse, one of the most overlooked yet powerful assets you can possess is skills. Unlike cash, which can lose its value overnight, or stocks, which can vanish in a market crash, practical skills retain and even increase in value during a crisis. When systems fail, supply chains break, and services shut down, those who can do things for themselves and others become indispensable. Skills are recession-proof, collapse-resistant, and immune to inflation. Think about what happens during a financial meltdown. People don't stop needing food, shelter, repairs, security, or medical help. But when businesses close and institutions fail, who provides these essentials? The answer: people with hands-on, real-world abilities. Whether it's knowing how to fix a generator, grow vegetables, purify water, treat wounds, or build a shelter, your skills become your currency. For example, a skilled carpenter can still barter labor for food or supplies. A nurse or EMT can offer critical help in return for protection or goods. A mechanic becomes a lifeline when vehicles break down and professional garages are gone. These are not just survival skills, they are high-value assets when society no longer functions as normal. Skills also grant freedom. You're not waiting in long lines, hoping for aid, or relying on fragile systems. You can create, fix, adapt, and survive on your terms. That's power in any crisis. And if you have family or dependents, your skills become their safety net too. A parent who can cook from scratch, repair broken tools, or make clean water is a protector in every sense of the word. Moreover, your skills are not just useful for survival, they are also a way to build community. In collapse situations, small groups form based on mutual benefit and trust. If you can offer something valuable, you become a key member of that group. That could mean being the one who knows first aid, the one who can fix solar panels, or the one who can smoke meat and preserve food. Even better, no one can steal your skills. They're not stored in a vault or on a USB drive. They live in your hands, your head, and your habits. The more you practice them, the more valuable they become. Unlike money or gold, they don't run out or get spent. They grow. Investing time now into learning practical skills is one of the smartest moves you can make before the next collapse. When the dollar dies and digital systems fail, what you can do will matter far more than what you own. Another asset that consistently outperforms cash during times of collapse is land, especially productive land. When currencies fail, inflation spirals, or supply chains disintegrate, owning even a small piece of land that can provide food, fuel, or shelter becomes a lifeline. Land has always been the foundation of true wealth. It doesn't vanish in a market crash. It doesn't get printed into worthlessness. It stays, and if used wisely, it gives back. Land offers more than just a place to live. It offers independence. A backyard garden in a city may yield only a portion of your needs, but a small rural property, one with water, soil, and sunlight, can feed you for the long haul. With a bit of knowledge and effort, you can raise vegetables, fruit, chickens, goats, or even bees. That turns you from a consumer into a producer, and when grocery shelves are empty or prices skyrocket, your land becomes your grocery store. Beyond food, land can provide firewood, building materials, and a safe place away from urban chaos. In a true collapse scenario, population-dense areas can become dangerous fast. Owning land in a less populated region gives you options. You're not trapped. You can bug out and have a place to go, not just a hope or a plan. There's also the strategic value of land. Even a small off-grid plot with a basic cabin and a water source can be the difference between desperation and survival. If you add solar panels, a wood stove, and a garden, you've created a self-sufficient base of operations. That's a powerful position to be in when utilities fail and systems shut down. Land also holds long-term value. Even when economies collapse and rebuild, land retains or even increases its worth. It's a finite resource. Unlike fiat currency, it cannot be created at will. And in a post-collapse economy where bartering replaces buying, land can become a multi-purpose asset. A place to grow, trade, teach, and protect. Another important aspect is privacy and control. When you rent or live in densely packed areas, you're always under someone else's rules. On your land, you call the shots. You can store what you need, grow what you want, and live how you choose. That freedom is worth more than gold when the world becomes uncertain. In short, productive land is a hard asset with real value. It provides sustenance, security, autonomy, and legacy. In every collapse in history, those who owned the land often outlasted those who only held money. The final asset that consistently outperforms cash in every collapse is skills. These real, practical, hands-on skills that solve problems, create value, and ensure survival. Unlike money, skills can't be devalued, stolen, or confiscated. They go where you go, and when systems break down, people don't trade paper. They trade usefulness. Think back to every economic crisis or societal collapse in history. Whether it was the Great Depression, Venezuela's hyperinflation, or war-torn regions, those who knew how to grow food, fix machinery, purify water, hunt, sew, build, treat injuries, or preserve food weren't just surviving, they were thriving. They had something everyone needed, and when people are desperate, they'll trade generously for what they can't do themselves. Learning a valuable skill today is like putting gold in your mind, and the best part, you can't lose it in a market crash. It won't disappear in a banking glitch. It won't decay like paper money. It grows more valuable the worse things get. If you can repair solar panels, maintain small engines, treat wounds without a doctor, or purify water without chemicals, you instantly become an asset in your community. Even simpler skills like baking bread from scratch, canning vegetables, or basic carpentry can mean the difference between fear and confidence. Let's be clear, no, one can master every skill, but every person should aim to learn a handful of core survival trades that don't rely on fragile systems. The more skills you gain, the less dependent you become. You shift from being part of the problem to being part of the solution. In an economic collapse, bartering often becomes the new economy. If you can sharpen knives, mend clothing, tune radios, or teach others, that's currency. Knowledge becomes tradable, labor becomes wealth, and unlike hoarding food or gold, skills never run out. Even better, sharing your skills builds trust and reputation. In hard times, people remember who helped them fix their generator, who delivered their baby, who taught them to trap a rabbit or make herbal medicine. Skills create bonds, bonds create networks, and networks are how people survive collapse. So if you're prepping for what's coming, don't just stockpile goods. Stockpile knowledge. Train your hands, your eyes, and your mind. Learn from books, YouTube, your grandparents, anyone. Practice, fail, try again. Because when the dollar dies, the market crashes, and chaos hits the streets, it won't be the richest who make it, it'll be the most capable. Invest in skills now, and they'll pay dividends forever.